Good morning. I'm Isaac. I'm a sophomore at the University of Minnesota, and I have been a leader with Lutheran Campus Ministry for a year. LCM is a beautiful community for me and many other students on campus. And so before I begin, I want to extend my gratitude for your financial support in making this ministry possible. Today I chose to talk about the gospel reading, John 20. Right away, in the very first sentence of the gospel reading today, we learn that the disciples are hiding in fear behind closed doors. Yet, Jesus is able to come and stand among them, regardless of these shut and locked doors. This moment stood out to me because it reminded me of the journey I took being a part of Lutheran Campus Ministry. Last year was my freshman year, and before moving to college, I was hesitant about joining a campus ministry group. I knew I was going to have a hard engineering class load, and I was also joining the Minnesota Disc Golf Club and planned on playing intramural sports, as well as joining Minnesota Run Club. And so I feared my plate would be too full. I'm sure you all have had moments in your life too when you have so much to do and no idea how you're going to fit it all in. So I told myself I wouldn't have time for campus ministry. Plus, as a pastor's son, I had been doing church stuff my whole life. This was a chance for a break. So just as the disciples locked the doors to their house, I locked away the idea of joining LCM. I just wouldn't have time for it. Naturally, my dad highly encouraged me to at least check out LCM. So I signed up for the email list just in case I had a change of heart. During Welcome Week, LCM hosted a campfire that promised community and free s'mores. You learn as a college student not to turn down free food. I didn't have any classwork yet due to it being Welcome Week, so I convinced my roommate to go with me and headed to the campfire. When I got there, I quickly met Pastor Kate, who of course already knew my name due to my dad emailing her about me possibly joining campus ministry. The campfire proved to be very fun. Everyone was lively and encouraged me to come to pause student worship the Wednesday night of the next week. I told them my Wednesdays were very busy, but I'd think about it. I was still hesitant to join, remembering all the other things I planned on doing. On Wednesday, after a long day of physics, calculus, chemistry lecture, and chemistry lab, I found myself sitting in a dorm room with nothing to do. So where did I go? Yep, LCM. It helped that the walk from my dorm to the church was less than 5 minutes. When I arrived, I was instantly welcomed by student leaders and Pastor Kate. Pastor Kate then introduced me to a sophomore who was also a pastor's kid, who I now call one of my best friends. The worship itself was beautiful. The name Pause really hits the nail on the head. It is a peaceful and restful and well-positioned in the middle of the week to give you a break from thinking about school. And so, from that point on, I've been hooked. The reading today functions in a very similar way. The doors may be shut and locked, but Jesus still finds a way in, and he grants the disciples peace. There's a lot of promise in this piece of the story. We all have different kinds of shut and locked doors in our lives, but Jesus doesn't care about locked doors. He doesn't care about the locked doors in this story. He doesn't care about the barriers you or I put up. He doesn't even care about the stone rolled in front of the tomb. This shows us that no matter what, we have life in God's name. I said earlier I feared I would be too busy to be a large part of LCM, but I am now a student leader and spend a lot of time with the LCM community. I am still very busy. Sometimes keeping ourselves busy is another door we put up, another barrier that separates us from doing the things that are important and restful in our lives. Maybe those things are taking a restful walk when the weather is nice, or sitting down to have a meal with our loved ones. Or maybe that's just taking a nap. These things bring us peace. In our gospel reading today, Jesus says, "Peace be with you," not once, not twice, but 3 times. I think that's awesome, but Jesus, what if I don't feel peace because I have a ridiculous amount of chemistry homework and a track meet tomorrow? Well, there I go putting up a locked door again. But who says peace isn't embedded in this busyness? Remember, Jesus says, "Peace be with you," and he doesn't care about those shut doors. Sometimes we feel peace in our busyness. Peace is when my roommate checks to see if I'm doing all right with my homework. Peace is when my teammate helps me find my water bottle after a tough race. And peace is when you shake a friend's hand in worship today. Jesus says to the disciples, "Peace be with you. As my Father has sent me, so I send you." Sometimes I find challenge in this. What am I supposed to do with this task? We are sent as people of faith to spread God's love and peace. Sometimes this seems like a big ask. How can we take on something so important? But in reality, this task is something we do every day. We share this love by doing something as simple as striking up a conversation with a friend. Have you ever been asked the question, where do you see God in your life this week? When I used to be asked this question, I had a really hard time answering it. I'm sure some of you wrestle with questions like that too. I think I was always looking for a spectacular miracle or a big supernatural sign, but recently, when I am asked this question, I answer that I have seen God in other people. When I show up to a community like LCM or Run Club, and people are generally interested in my well-being, that makes me feel love and peace. We are called to be the pieces of those communities that make others feel welcomed and loved. Maybe this means digging a little deeper after someone responds good to the question, "How are you?" and truly listening and engaging with what they say. This also comes in the form of reminding others in our community that they are loved. Sometimes I don't think our society does that enough. I am currently taking a community leadership class, and after one of our classes, 2 guys in my class gave each other a hug and loudly slapped each other on the back. I'm sure you can picture what that looked like. My instructor, seeing this, said something that stuck with me. Guys can give gentle hugs too. Giving gentle hugs, or just telling a friend that they are loved, is a simple thing we can do to fulfill our call of spreading God's love. Okay, but wait. What if we are too busy, too stressed, and spread too thin to do this all the time? What if we need a break? As I continued to read through this passage, I saw a sign of hope. Thomas was not originally with the other disciples. He must have been enduring heaps of grief and stress due to his beloved teacher being crucified just a few days earlier. Even though he was not with the other disciples when Jesus returned and was hesitant to believe the words of his friends, Thomas was welcomed back with open arms and was welcome to participate in worship with the other disciples. This again shows us the promise that God's love is there for all of us, no matter where we are. It is okay to take breaks and days off. Remember that we have each other to lean on when we have those days that we can't be fully present. Through God's love, we pick each other up and keep going. We are sent to be those people that show God's love to our friends, family, and greater community. That can come in many different forms, even if it's just asking someone how they are and generally listening and caring. We all have the ability to brighten people's day and spread God's love and peace. This may not always be easy. We have stressful days that are low energy, and sometimes we like to lock ourselves away behind a closed door. When you have those days, remember that God's love is still here for you. No matter what we do, no matter what doors we close, no matter what barriers we put up, God's love is there for us. Before and beyond anything you do, you are loved. Thanks be to God. Amen.